What's going on, guys? Bel-Air here. Open 2 for North America is upon us. I'm recording this on Thursday, midday. So we're going to be kicking off tomorrow, and I wanted to roll through our predictions for the event. Let me get my screens in order and make sure I'm clicking the right place. Voila, we're going to be going through this. As you can see, I've already clicked off a couple of these because I know I like to talk a lot. Shout out to Cody for putting this sheet together. Link will be in the description below. Here is his Twitter page as well. And then the other thing that I used quite a bit, I got a bunch of notes here that we're going to be going through for our teams, and a lot of this is coming from these sheets here that are set up by the legend himself, Direct. Here's his Twitter. Link will be in the description below as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. I went ahead and started us out and did some of these, did this first upper quarter, matchups. I have Complexity with a 3-0 win over Team What's Up. What's Up, by the way, that's Expert, Drury, and Life. Drury and Life are both top 120 in a ranked 2v2 right now, which means that they are both on the grind. Life is one of those players that kind of caught a little bit of fire last season as one of the new up-and-coming super young players. Drury and Expert have been around for quite a while. Expert especially, Incorrect, Plot Twist, Sup, 26 Rising. Who else did I write down? Ghost here. So Expert has definitely been around for quite some time, but I have Complexity, one of the best teams in North America, beating them to kick things off here in a 3-0 dominant win. All right, next, let's stay in Group A here. Talladega against Poab, Pirates on a Boat. I have Poab taking this one here. Poab, Creams, Hockey, 5-up. This is the same roster from last season with Creams and Hockey, and they have moved off of Wavy, who, of course, went to Deleted Gaming, and brought in 5-up, who had a great season last time around. Open Qualifier 1, they had a big commanding win, Poab that is, over Shopify Rebellion. They beat them, I think it was like 14-7 in goal differential. And they ultimately lost to Ultimates and Team Evo, who we're going to talk about in just a second here. 3-0 swept them to knock Pirates out of the tournament. So I have Pirates here coming back with a vengeance over Talladega, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. All right, moving on. Team Evo against Woo. This is an all-European matchup to kick things off. Team Evo, Speed, Relating Wave, and Arju. Relating Wave, one of my favorite players of all time. Just a big fan of the personality, big fan of the underdog nature of his career. Speed, somebody who had a renaissance last season and had some big wins after kind of a long, not off period, but Speed re-entered the spotlight with his roster. And then, of course, Arju, who was a longtime teammate of Matane, who is now playing, oh my goodness, Matane, I was just talking about him, is playing with Eugen and Achronic on start point. So a couple of guys who came over to play CRL over here in the States in Team Evo, and them in Strictly Business, I thought were going to be the two European teams competing here in North America. But instead of Strictly, we have Team Woo hopping in here, which is Kisai, Farese, and Parka. You probably know Farese and Parka from Heat, where they were playing with Juicy, who we're all familiar with a couple of seasons back. These guys have all been around the block, at least for a little bit. They took a game off of NRG in 9 lives in order to make it to this top 16. I have Team Evo beating them, though. Rebellion, Shopify, that is, against Netherlamerica Canada. Netherlamerica Canada. Nailed it. Which is Taroko, Justas, and who am I forgetting? Of course, Matter, who, if you've been following North America Rocket League for a little bit here, you probably know as Daunt. He went through a name change. Taroko currently tied in ranked twos with Drali. So are they equally as good as each other? I think so. Taroko has been a grinder all the way back to his days on Rogue with Turinturo and First Killer. Just has always consistently put in the hours. He is the Canadian portion of the Nether Mera Canada naming conventions there. And matter like we said, Daunt, you probably know from um, Leftovers more recently, but Charlotte Phoenix back in the day, and he participated on Sup as well. So Complexity, Poab, Evo, and Rebellion. This is definitely a softer side of our top 16. Let's go ahead and move over to Group B, the Group of Death. NRG, I have them the most dominant team in North America with a dominant win over newcomers Tree Lamp here. That is Devo, not to be confused with old Devo, Bora, and Swaz. Hope I said the names correctly. Guys, let me know if there's different pronunciations. This is a team of just some young grinders in North America. Bora, currently top 250 in ranked twos, and he's got 1.5K games played in ranked twos this season. He is all over it. And then we have Swaz as well, who's at 1K games. Definitely not a slouch. He's a 2.2K elo, and he's 182nd in ranked twos right now. So these guys are here to play, but this unfortunately is not the matchup to get them started the right way. I would be shocked if they even get a game off of NRG here, and we're going to talk more about NRG as we get into this, but they have come back fully in form. 9 lives. Kofor Hawks or Chicago going up against Omelet, which is Percy Zanil and Lion Blaze. I have 9 lives winning 3-1 here. Let's talk a little bit about Omelet. I wanted to do a bit of research here just because it's not a team. They've been around for a while, but it's not a team that I caught a lot of in Open 1. They kind of went out pretty quickly. They played Deleted, Gen.G, and Gas. This team lost to Shopify Rebellion 3-2 and beat What's Up 3-2 in order to get into this top 16. So they're playing some teams really close. And talking about Open Qualifier 1 a little bit, really poor. They got lit up on the shooting end, especially. They only had a couple of matchups like we talked about. So the Gen.G series really kind of is an outlier. They got blasted by Gen.G, so it kind of makes the statistics a little bit tough to read. But they were the only team out of the top 16 from Open 1 who saved under 50% of their shots. So for a team that, especially last season, kind of made a name as this team who was doing the not scoring a lot, just a defensive brick wall, and then kind of countering, winning a lot of games 1-0, 2-1, things like that. Something that they're definitely going to look to shore up here. But again, I mean, Deleted and Gen.G are two teams who really were scoring in bunches. They allowed close to 3 goals per game against them, Omelet that is, in Open Qualifier 1. So as that steadies, I think that they could have a pretty good event here. Definitely a team that I'm going to put their ceiling at like a top 6, but we'll end up seeing where, excuse me, where I have them falling as we kind of go through this exercise here. All right, Ultimates against Pioneers. Excuse me, guys. I ate lunch before this. I wanted to be, energized. And anyways, Ultimates, I got them 3-0 over JNAPS' squad with Aqua and Eris here. I like Pioneers. It's this could be it for JNAPS, there's no reason that it has to be. I'm not saying that he has to retire after this season or whatever, but getting onto a roster like this where the expectations are not very high. I got a little bit of Eris stock. I have completely moved off of my position from Aqua a couple seasons back here, but this is a team that took down Space Station Gaming in order to get into this event here. I'm pretty sure they were a round 5 team and barely missed out on top 16 last time around. So definitely a squad that you're going to have to, if you're one of these, Woos, What's Up, Tree Lamp kind of teams, you probably don't want to see Pioneers, especially late into this tournament, just because I think Pioneers just have an elevated skill ceiling and won't be as nervous in those moments. But against a team like Ultimates, who are really looking to bounce back here, who are very much in the chase after getting bounced, I think top 8 by NRG in the first event. This is not the series that I have Pioneers taking even a game off of. Are there any other things that we want to hit here with Pioneers real quick? No, I think that's pretty good for them. Let's move down to Gen.G versus Deleted, which is probably the toughest matchup for me to call. Yeah, out of these first 8 matchups, I agree with you, Belair. Just because I could see this going either way. Two teams that really shined in the first event. I know Gen.G has a lot of people doubting. I've been doing the power rankings with Martian Turtle and a couple other people, and it's just one of those teams where I don't know if any of us. I'm trying to recall if any of us had them um, ranked as a top 20 team, and I definitely think I do. I just talked about this on my last episode of the Need Boost podcast, which I put out yesterday. Gen.G are definitely a top 20 team for me, maybe top 15. I think they're one of the better teams in North America, despite the results. But yeah, they're kind of chasing here. They got eliminated in game 7 by 9 lives in the top 8 of Open Qualifier 1. So if Gen.G are looking to get one of those land spots, this has got to be it. But statistically, they were awesome. Um, in Open Qualifier 1, they lose to NRG twice to get their placement in top 8. And then, like I said, that game 7 against 9 lives, Cheese put out a YouTube video where he said it was one of the worst moments of his life or professional career because he ended up having a pretty poor defensive play at the end of that game, of that series rather, to end up sinking their ship. But after Open Qualifier 1, Cheese and Magic Bear are both top 6 in goals per game, and they're both currently top 25 in ranked 2v2 nationally. So this is a team that's putting in the hours. They got Greg as their coach. I think that they're going to win this one here, but we're going to talk more about Deleted Gaming here in a second. That team is hooping as well. All right, let's do these lowers real quick. Let's kind of empty the clip on some of this info if we're holding on to anything. I'm going to have What's Up getting eliminated here. We'll just give him 2 against Talladega. Expert on What's Up. He's been around for a while. He's made 19 A-tier events, but he's only made top 8 in one of them. So this seems like a good place for him to go out with a couple young players alongside him. Talladega, that roster, Adam Knight and Oath, they were series away from being top 16 in Open 1, so they were right there as well. Adam and Knight have been playing together for quite a while, so they have that cohesion similar to a Matane and Arju kind of situation that we had seen before, even like a Tho Mike Boy kind of deal. But they've played on Savants, Nefarious. They were Deleted XD's roster last season, and they made 3 main events. So they had a big win over Pioneers in order to get here, and I think that they are going to continue on into at least the lower semifinals. And then down here, we have Wu against Nether Americanada. Nether Americanada. I wonder if even they can say that properly. And let's close down a couple of these tabs, why don't we? I am just going to go on a gut check here, and I'm going to take, I'll give them a 3-2 as well. I'm going to take this Netherland Americanada. I tried my best roster here. They beat Tree Lamp and they lost to Complexity in Poab, which are 2 great teams, but they got that win over a team that's in the top 16 here. And then for Wu, they only beat teams that missed the top 16 to get here. So they had a pretty Mickey run. I'm not super familiar with how these guys are looking over here. I didn't catch any of them in the lead up to this main event, so that's where I'm gonna have them dipping out. Top over here, Tree Lamp. Glad that you're here. I'm gonna have Omelet taking the win, and then this is a tough one down here. But before we do, running out of things on Tree Lamp here. They only beat teams who missed. They did have a win over Lotus 8, who beat SSG. We talked about that on the Need Boost podcast yesterday. And that Lotus 8 team, they won their first two and then they lost three in a row. And one of those was to this Tree Lamp team here. So to be able to beat a team in Lotus 8 who had a big win over SSG is definitely something to hang your hat on. But at the same time, it kind of seemed like after Lotus 8 had that big win over SSG, they had just emptied themselves emotionally to lose three straight, basically a reverse sweep of their own chances out of top 16. I'm going to have this being the end of the debut for Devo, Bora, and Swaz. Swaz? I'm going to go with Swaz. I like Swaz more. All right, deleted and Pioneers. Like I said, fan of the Pioneers, but this deleted squad looked excellent in Open Qualifier 1. Really caught a lot of people off guard. This Pioneer squad, not too much else to say, but I do want to say about deleted. They were a plus shot differential in every team they played against, except for Complexity in Open Qualifier 1, and deleted played some high quality rosters. So for a team that we kind of didn't know what they would look like, Andy has been carrying the torch for them here. He absolutely lit up 9 Lives, which is a team that made a top 4. So if you go look statistically, Andy, I think, was top 3 in goals per game after Open Qualifier 1. And they were one of 7 teams from Open Qualifier 1 who had over 2 goals per game. Andy is doing it all offensively. Wavy, as a somebody who is creating a lot of space with demos, is finishing his own shot attempts. A couple nice doubles off the backboard that we got to see from the highlights from some Edit Tim videos from Open Qualifier 1. And I assume that this team is just going to keep rolling here. You got the veteran leadership of players like Andy and Gyro, who have been to lands before, and for a player in Wavy who had a lot of buzz last season and this offseason, a really great offseason for him, and is looking to elevate after he has moved out of that Creams and Hockey POAB roster last season. This is a good opportunity for him, and so far they're making the most of it. Some big wins so far, so I anticipate them rolling on here. All right, let's hop back up to our uppers. I'm going to take Complexity over POAB in a 3-1. Complexity are good. They play a really difficult to play against style where they're not necessarily scoring a ton, but they're also not allowing a ton of shots. They're on the lower end of shots allowed per game, which means a lot of the game, and you watch this, like, there's some games where you can really lock in and you're like, oh, here's an offensive attack and now it's a transition on a defense. If you watch Complexity, it's just they're trying to almost make you lose yourself and go on to autopilot in some of these games, and then they just crush you with, there's the clip that did its rounds of the what was it, the Raise Bull Psycho or the CRR Psycho to Diaz hitting a double touch the other direction. They're just looking to lull you to sleep and then punch you in the mouth with a counter. So much of this is in the midfield. CRR, great controlling on the ground. Raise Bull is awesome at getting up high into the air quickly and getting some really advantageous 50-50s to drop down. And then Diaz is the only player who's currently participating in North America who is in the top 10 for rank 2s. So I like this Pirates roster, but Complexity are not messing around. I think through Open 1, at least for me, they were decidedly the best, second best team in the region. Now, Team Evo versus Rebellion is a tough one to call. On paper, this is obviously Rebellion, but Evo, they didn't have the strongest opposition in Open 1. They're here again. This Shopify Rebellion team kind of reminds me of the Gen.G roster, the RMC roster from last season, where you kind of just don't know what you're going to get from them on a series to series basis. In Shopify, just some weird stats. They're 0-8 when they're scored on first. They did beat POAB and or excuse me, they lost to Poab in 9 lives. Um, Two teams preseason that you would assume that they should be beating, and then they beat Tech in Open One, which is the team that had the unfortunate situation this time around where they didn't even get to participate due to some um, sign up issues. But that's Com, Evo, and Talks team. They beat them 3-2. So Shopify playing a lot of these teams close. I had talked preseason in one of my Need Boost podcasts with Michael, formerly of Shift, how Shopify, out of the teams that we consider to be, the top 30 teams coming into the season, they were the lowest on Rank Two's games played as far as a team goes. So for a team who had a pretty disappointing season last time around, unable to make a LAN, Parth and Two Piece are still unable to secure that first international appearance. They had an off season that was kind of a head scratcher for me. I assumed that they would be putting in more hours. Um, but I do have them winning this one here. Um, Team Evo had 2 losses in Open Qualifier 1 to 9 lives, which is a tough one. Speed was top 3 in goal participation out of anybody. I could see this going either way, but I'm gonna give it to Rebellion just because I think they gotta start going here. If it's not this event and they miss this Birmingham major in a pretty significant way, I would assume that this is a team that looks to finally break it up. At least I would if I were the GM. All right, let's hop over here to the Group B side of things. I mean, isn't this impossible? This is like, what are you even going to do with this? I am going to take NRG here over 9 lives, even though this is a watch it matchup, I think. Um, I just think that NRG are going to big brother them. I don't think that there's going to be too much they can do there. Speaking of NRG, plus 45 goal differential to lead North America in Open Qualifier 1. As a frame of reference, second place was Complexity at plus 12. Plus 45 to plus 12 is just ridiculous. And then shot differential 103 in second place there was Deleted Gaming, which had a plus 22. So NRG are just the best team in North America. If they lose one of these, it's just because the other team is going to be on a heater. Um, I think they're going to try and go for perfection this time around and see if they can get the trifecta. And this is just going to be a stepping stone for them. So I'm going to have NRG here, and 3-2 might be a little courteous to 9 lives, but that team had an awesome Open One. So credit where it's due, in my opinion. And then Ultimates versus Gen.G. I hope Gen.G win this one, but this has to be Ultimates, right? If you're just following the storylines that we anticipated from the preseason, look, I was early to say that this Ultimates roster didn't move me too much, but that was at the LAN level. I think they're probably a seventh or eighth best team when it comes to a LAN, in my opinion. But at least domestically, I think that they are the second or third best team here. So this is a matchup that they should be winning. Um, but Ultimates, what would you anticipate from this team? At least the way I look at it, First Killer Chronic and LJ, shots, 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 right? You're going to be just blowing teams out, trying to crush them on the offensive end. You have so much talent. All 3 of those players have the mechanics to just melt the defense like butter, win 1-on-2s, big wins for easy finishes. And yet they had a -2 goal differential in Open Qualifier 1, which is a little bit of a head scratcher for me. It was kind of, what is this team? What are the roles that you're trying to get for each of these players? And they've tripped over themselves a little bit so far. They lost to SSG and NRG, which are 2 losses that you can excuse. And LJ is currently 8th in goals per game, and he's the only one with a top 10 on this roster out of all the categories, which is just bizarre. It kind of leads me back to the what is this team? They're only top 3 as a team, and that's when we're talking about these statistics from Direct. The only top 3 they had was in assist percentage. So I need this team to really start scoring in bunches like I know they can and locking it down defensively. A lot of stuff to work out. This Gen.G team was lighting it up on the offensive end, but I think that they're going to leave quite a bit of holes. They play very spaced out, and they're looking to try and catch some backside demos to open things up for scoring opportunities the opposite direction. I think that this Ultimates team is going to be keen to that. I'm actually going to give this a 3-1. All right, let's move down to these lower semis here real quick. I'm going to take Team Evo over Talladega, and I'm going to take Poab over Nether Canada. And then let's hop over here and snag Gen.G over Omelet real quick. Although that's a watch it game for Gen.G as well. There's going to be a lot of pressure there against a very good Omelet team who this is not their first go around in these kind of situations. A little bit more on Omelet as we have them being eliminated here, and maybe we'll touch back on these two if there's any notes that we had missed. But Omelet are 4-0 when they score first. And Lion Blaze was the third lowest in goal participation in Open 1. A player who is typically the kind of offensive engine there. We'll see. This is going to be a tough matchup for them. I don't know. It just seems like a rough kind of these. You can't really roll from one of these into the next. Nine Lives is going to play a lot different than Tree Lamp, and I feel the same about these teams being different as well. So Omelet are getting a lot of different looks here with some teams that are really in some pressurized situations to win. If they do win over Gen.G here, I think it would just be because the pressure kind of got to Gen.G. I think back to they had put out a video from when this team participated in the FIFA E, and there was a quote from Magic Bear that resonated with me where he basically said, us being a full roster here, where a lot of these other nationalities are pickup teams, is that we should have a better chance to win, but if we lose, it looks even worse. And that to me just kind of speaks to pressure. This is a matchup that they know that they should win, so I'm going to have it close here, but I'm going to err on the side of talent. And nothing more on Tree Lamp or excuse me, on Nether Canada. Glad that's the last time I got to try and say that. And do we have anything on Talladega that we might have missed? Last season, Adam and Knight were 110th internationally in goals per game. So not a team that is scoring a lot. And I think Team Evo, these are the exact kind of matchups that they've been buttering their bread on so far this season. 9 lives and deleted. I don't know where to take this one, to be honest with you. They ended up going 7 in Open Qualifier 1 to allow 9 lives to get their top 4 finish. I could see deleted trying to enact their revenge here. Maybe let's kind of think this one through. Yeah, so 9 lives lose to NRG. I'm calling it close. Deleted are coming off a close one against Pioneers. 9 lives are kind of in the driver's seat here. I'm gonna take them in a very close one, but that one is a coin flip for me. And now let's just let's hit our seeding matches here real quick. I'm gonna take Complexity Commanding. I'm gonna take let's take Poab in an upset. Why don't we, just to make it interesting, because we know we're not gonna call this correctly. NRG over Ultimates. I just think that they have kind of a big brother deal going on there, similar to Falcons or Furia in their regions. And then you know what? A big win here for Gen.G over 9 lives. All right, let's get into our playoffs. Why don't we? Let's see if we can kind of format this in a way that we like. There we go. Complexity, Ultimates, NRG, Rebellion are our uppers. That's an easy one for me. These are best of 7s. Pay attention, Bel-Air. I'm going to call that as a 4-1. I'm going to have to circle back to this Complexity Ultimates here. Let's hit a couple of these real quick. Nine Lives in a 4-2 over Poab, and then give me Gen.G in a 4-2 over Team Evo. That's Evo and Pirates eliminated in top eights. Um, Evo is gone, and then Poab. Do we have anything? A weird one for Poab. They're 4-0 when they score first, and they're 0-8 when they're scored on first. So it is all about that first goal with them there. And Nine Lives, a team who have been scoring first quite often. Not that that's the full read on the game here, but I do think that Nine Lives are a better squad. And one other thing on Poab that I think I had, they're definitely scoring by committee. They actually remind me of a team like Shopify Rebellion from last season, where it was this weird statistical thing where Justin, Parth, and Two Piece all scored basically identical goals per game to one another. And Poab are doing the same thing here. Creams has been awesome on the offensive end. Him and Five Up are both huge on goal participation. I think Five Up is top 10 in tally. So a lot to like for them there. But if we're talking about out of the six players, I think Poab probably has the the two weakest in my opinion there. So I'm gonna give that one 9 lives. All right, let's close out complexity against ultimates. I honestly don't know which direction I'm gonna go here. Um, they had wins over 9 lives, ultimates, and deleted. So this is a matchup. They beat ultimates 3-1 in open qualifier one, and they were held to only 3 goals in their semifinal sweep that they suffered to NRG. But hey, it's NRG. This team is top 3 in goals per game complexity. They're second in goals allowed, and they're third for shots against. So again, just painting a picture of that team where they're not giving up a lot of shots, they're scoring a lot, and they're even the shots they're giving up, they're defending at a high clip. So complexity look awesome. They got a lot to prove here. Although I gotta say, I think Ultimates might try and exact their revenge, and just so we're not copy pasting from what happened the first time, we're gonna go that direction. Okay, stop moving the camera, Bel Gen.G Shopify. Um, I'm gonna go Gen.G here, and these are best of sevens, correct? Excellent. And you know what? I'm gonna take this, crank this one up as well to make that a best of seven. I think that this is gonna be pretty commanding. I'm gonna go 4-1 for Gen.G. I think that they're gonna kind of try and get the offense going here. And for Shopify Rebellion, who are also 0-8 when they're scored on first, just not a lot to like here. Um, Parth and Two Piece are both top 10 in saves per game, but Parth is bottom 10 in goals, shots, and goal participation, to name a few. And Justin was bottom 10 in assists per game, although he is leading this team in scoring at like 0.74 goals per game or something like that. So, you know, I just feel like this is the ceiling for this Shopify team. And Gen.G are out for blood here. I think that's going to be a big win for them over Team Evo, or however this ends up breaking. I just think Gen.G are better than what we're kind of talking about them as. I think off of the FIFA E loss against Chile, which was a real stinger, um, this team hasn't slowed down. They seem to like playing with one another. They're saying all the right things. They decided to stick it out, and I'm a big fan of Greg as their coach there, and Kev Pert, who's helping out as well, who I don't know, but he's been on some winning situations before. So we're gonna put Gen.G up into a top 4 here. Good for them as they're trying to chase their Birmingham major spot. And then I'm gonna take complexity here as well over 9 lives. Look, Kofor has been awesome. Same with Chicago and Hoxer. Um, they the big thing for 9 lives is that they're scoring first in 61% of their games. They're trailing only NRG, who are only at like 62%. So they're right there. If you can score first against this team, you're looking good. But again, I just think Complexity are not giving up a lot of goals. They're shutting down a lot of those passing lanes and trying to really muck it up. So for a 9 lives team who are trying to ping the ball around and get it going, and try to catch some teams off guard, that actually plays, in my opinion, directly into what Complexity are trying to do. So the tail of the tape for that one for me is going to be, can 9 lives connect on their passing plays, securing boost and finding each other in the middle of the pitch, off the sidewalls, off of ping passes and things like that, or are Complexity allowed to play their game? And if Complexity play to their strengths, I'm going to take them in this matchup. So our top 4 is almost all red here. NRG, Complexity on the OG logo, Ultimates, and Gen.G. I'm going to take NRG here. I would take NRG against anybody, but I do think that that series is going to go deep, and I could even see Complexity winning a matchup like that. Again, Complexity, in my opinion, second best team in North America right now. Could they totally bomb out? Sure, but I don't really see that happening. I think the situation with SSG missing was just youth. So Complexity don't have that to worry about, and they're trying to prove something. Again, they are looking to be signed by a new organization. Complexity are kind of helping them in a transition. They're playing out of the Complexity team house. They're living, I think, in Florida, as they're competing here in North America. They honestly could be in Texas, but it's not really the point here, is it, Bel-Air? I like that team a lot, and I think them getting a top 4 makes a lot of sense. Down here, Ultimates, they got to prove it, right? They're trying to claw back in and prove to themselves and all of us that they are first or second best team in North America. And I think that they're going to punish this Gen.G team. I just think that they're going to be able to find those gaps defensively. A top 4 for Gen.G is exactly what they need to try and get back into the chase here as we head towards the first LAN of the season. And then honestly, this could be whatever. This could honestly be a 4-0, but for making it fun, we'll do 4-2 here. Is there anything that we want to get rid of that we haven't talked about just yet? I feel good. I feel like we hit everything. Cheese, number 1 in tally from Open Qualifier 1. That's the combination of goals and assists. He's looking awesome. Like we said, he's top 15, I think, right now, or top 20. He's 19th in ranked 2s. Reddles was first in assists per game, so that Gen.G team is cruising. They just caught the short end of the stick with a bad loss to 9 lives in a game 7, and finding NRG back to back. So I still think Gen.G are in the hunt. And again, for Ultimates, what are you guys? Show me what you are. I'm still not sure. Shout out to NRG for winning their second straight. All right. Almost 40-minute video. That's it for me, guys. Let's scroll over here to see how this is going to come out here. And then let's go to the points ranking. Does this update automatically? Ooh, it does. So we will now have Gen.G still just in the chase. Space Station trying to redeem themselves after missing this top 16. That is brutal for them here. And Rebellion deleted. This honestly feels right to me. So that is it for me, guys. Really excited to see what North America has to offer. I'm going to put Cody and D-Rex information in the description below. And guys, thanks so much for taking the time. Until next time, take it easy.